Is my film director up here? Did you forget to set your clocks at? I can do that. He's the president on the board, okay? It's like, oh, great. Now I get, it's weird having the camera right there. Don't film me yet. So anyway, I spent all day yesterday, which is the most wonderful group of folks at our prayer chaplain training. And this afternoon, we're going to have our prayer ministry team meeting. So it's just been an incredible weekend of embracing that concept of one of the pillars of unity, which is prayer. And so, of course, as you can see from the title of my talk, what do I want to talk about this morning with you? The power of prayer. The power of prayer. It was so funny because Oceana LeBlanc, I don't think she's here right now. Is she over teaching the kids? She's away. Everybody's getting caught this morning, but I understand. If I wasn't a minister, I'd be, coming in a little late, probably, with having to set the clocks ahead an hour. But anyway, yesterday she's like, we need to have a prayer-a-thon at this church. And not to do any fundraising, but to do consciousness raising. Isn't that a cool idea? Yes. And it's Oceana's idea. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do a prayer-a-thon. That will really, get the energy swirling. And, prayer makes such a difference. I meant to ask Rachel permission to share this, but what the heck. She posted it on Facebook. Probably a lot of you know that her daughter, Juliana, broke her tailbone a couple days ago. And was just had a miserable time of it, obviously, and a lot of pain and screaming and so forth. And all of us were posting one another and holding her up in prayer and seeing it right and seeing her in the light and all that. And then, Rachel, you went ahead and posted that incredible post where you said that even before the doctor came in to say that Juliana had broken her tailbone, she was starting to what?
Walk.
She
wanted to know if she could sit up and walk, and the night before she couldn't even move. She had to be taken out by a stretcher, couldn't roll, couldn't do anything, couldn't go to the bathroom. So it's amazing. It's a miracle.
The power of prayer, I suggest. We don't understand all the time some mysteries of how we are connected in spirit, and that when we join together, there is this power that is generated that has the appearance of a miracle, but it's really the perfect outpicturing of divine law, universal law. And this is something that we have to share with one another at no cost. But the first step is for us to take prayer into our lives, perhaps in a new way, in a profound new way from some of us. So this morning I want to focus on this subject of prayer because it's one of my favorite subjects. Unity was founded, as I mentioned earlier, on prayer. And you and I are a part of this great prayer ministry called Unity. In Unity, we follow Jesus the Christ in knowing that we are a part of God and God is a part of us. We're not separate from God, but we are one with God. We're here this morning at a Unity Church in the presence of pure being. We're here this morning realizing that we are children of the Most High. And we're here this morning knowing that we are the answer to the prayers of others and to the prayers that we have prayed for ourselves. We're here this morning to experience a greater good than we have ever experienced in our lives. We're here this morning to celebrate the fact that we're part of the answer instead of part of the problem. Because we're a part of God's good. And God's good is manifesting now in our awareness as never before. There's a new spiritual vision that is inside of us this morning. We perceive with new eyes beyond that of human flesh, eyes that see past appearances to the truth of God. Yes, there's a mighty power of God at work this morning in our lives. We're here as sons and daughters of the Most High to see with a new vision, to believe in God's possibilities. In this service this morning, we are a part of God bringing forth into manifestation that presence of God in our own lives. God is here this morning to move inside of us. God is moving inside of our minds, inside of our bodies, inside of our souls, to bring that reassurance that we need right now. There will be an inner revelation in us this morning. There'll be a realization that goes beyond intellectual learning. There'll be an awareness that comes as a feeling, an inner knowing that tells us in no uncertain terms that we are the beloved of God. This morning we will know that we are one with God and God is one with us. This morning we will know that we are a heartbeat that beats into manifestation, God's good. This morning we'll know that we are co-creators with God. We will know this morning that we walk hand in hand with Jesus the Christ and hand with all the great spiritual leaders. And most important this morning, we will finally know the truth that we too, in the great prayer ministry called Unity, are spiritual leaders, spiritual giants in our own lives. Now, aren't you glad you came today?
Yeah. Yes.
Are you glad that you set that clock ahead of 1 hour and got yourself out of bed? You know what I just did just now? I prayed with you. That was a prayer. You're probably like, what happened to her? BJ doesn't get up and usually talk like that. Just think if we spoke to each other and about each other and about ourselves like that all the time. What do you think would happen in your life, in my life, in the life of the spiritual community? That is the power of prayer. You know, in Unity we offer a fresh approach to prayer. It's not so fresh anymore. I mean, it's over 100 years old with new thought. And even beyond that. Because Jesus taught us this way to pray. It's prayer using affirmations, using statements of truth, and saying them with conviction and faith and assurance and knowing that it is so. Claiming it in our lives. Sound good?
Yeah.
Think you can do that? Can we start walking around talking like that? I needed my notes. I just like the way it was so flowery, I just had to read it. But we were doing a lot of praying yesterday, all day long, without any notes. Saying the same type of things. That's what the prayer chaplains are here for. You know, some of you might say, you know, I just don't have any experience with praying. I'm not confident about it. I'm not comfortable with it. Well, there are people in this community who have made the commitment, who have answered the call, in a sense, have stepped into a vocation to pray with you. Not to pray for you, to pray with you. You know, we talked yesterday about sort of the steps of the process of when you come up, if somebody comes up and prays with Pat after the service, you're like, oh no, I'm under so much pressure now, but it's good. That the first thing is that you create a place of spiritual presence. You center yourselves in that presence, in that knowing. You know, God is in our midst. God is right here, right now, turning that attention within. Right? So that is the first step of just having that, being aware and waking up to the fact that it's like God is an ocean and we're swimming in it at all times. We just have to know it. And so you have these folks that are willing to come forth, in a sense, and keep that high watch, keep the vigil of the knowledge that God is present